Well, surprise everybody, I'm back. Welcome again to Dandelion Cottage and Paper Crafting Thursday. I'm Leslie Watkins, and this is going to be part 2. So if you wanted to see the previous videos, there are 2 before this one. And the project that I'm working on today is this hand-painted, watercolored gift box. Okay, and I'm going to get back to that in just a minute, but I want to show you what I have here. So if you are just tuning in for the first time, I recently went on a trip to Portugal, and I did some watercolor painting while I was there, and I wanted to give my host a present. And so I found this really cute word game. I know that she loves playing Scrabble because we played a lot of Scrabble while we were together, and I think that she's going to really love this because this is the kind of word game you can play on your own. You don't need to have somebody else there to play with. You can just do it when you get a few minutes. So my thought was to give her this thank you present in a box, a handmade box that was inspired by the colors of the view from her kitchen window. So I really liked this sketch because I loved the tonalities in it. I love all these colors. The palette's so beautiful. And so I tried to capture that on the paper that I made to decorate the box, and you can see that in a previous video. And then in the second video, which is the Portugal Gift Box Part 1, I showed you how I put the box together and applied the watercolor decorations to the sides. And now I've come back on again because I want to share how I finished the box and get it ready for presentation. So to do that, I'm going to be using this brand new bundle. Okay, and this is a stamp set called Paper Tags, and it comes with these dies. And so I grabbed the smaller of the tag dies. You can actually take these tag dies and you can superimpose one on top of the other. But I felt that this kind of wavy edge was a little bit too big for this box because it's just a little box. So I'm just using the smaller of the two. And what I want to do is to also have a tag that folds and opens up to have a little message on the inside. So what I did was I took a piece of cardstock and I folded it. I scored it and I folded it, and I made it a little bit smaller than the actual die. So you can see that there's some space there at the top where the paper doesn't extend all the way to the edge. And what that does is it keeps all of the other elements of the die, the rounded corners as well as the cute little cutout heart and this little slit that you can use to affix the tag to your gift. And now I have a folding card that I can put a message on the inside with. So that's how I did that. I'm also going to use this stamp just for you to decorate the front of the tag. And because I wanted the tag to match the box, I grabbed some of the scrap watercolor paper left over that has a little bit of this kind of abstract cloud or sky design on it. And I need a piece for the cover of the tag as well as an area on the inside of the tag to write my message on. So I'm just going to tear these pieces apart. I'm going to give that a good burnish to help me with my tearing. So here's another little piece of paper that I can use for something else. So I'm just going to hang on to that. And then I've got these two little pieces. So one for the inside. So let me just make sure that fits. And looks like it's a little bit tight. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to snip that little shape. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and tear it. So I have that kind of torn edge all around. So there we go. So that's going to fit nicely on the inside. I'm just going to glue that down. So that's where I'm going to write my message. Oops. I put that on the inside of the top of the card. Well, no problem. What I will do is I'll take this extra piece and I'll put it on this side. I'll just make that a little bit smaller. So I'll have a double. Today is my day for making lots of happy accidents. If you saw my earlier video, you will have seen me change my measurements several times for the actual box. So it's kind of funny, but it just goes to show no matter how many boxes or projects you work on, everybody makes mistakes. And a mistake is not always a bad thing. Sometimes you learn from it, and sometimes you come up with a brand new innovation. So don't be afraid to get started of making a mistake. Mistakes are part of the whole experience. So now what I have is extra room to write my message, which is fine because I am so deeply appreciative of the time that I spent with my friends in Portugal. We had a wonderful time, and if you're interested in seeing some of the photos, go to my private Facebook page or personal Facebook page at Leslie Watkins, and you can see dozens and dozens of beautiful photographs that were taken throughout the cities and the countryside in Portugal. It was just a fantastic trip. All right, so now this piece I'm going to put on the front of my tag, and I'm going to go ahead, let's see, I think I like it better this way. So I'm going to go ahead and tear that little shape out again, but this time, before I glue it down, I want to stamp on it. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I love to use current product, but I also like to use things that are retired. So I've got this stamp pad, which is Misty Moonlight, and I'm pretty sure this is a retired cover. Let's just double check. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been known to be wrong before. Let me check my colors here. This is the new catalog that just went live. And oh, you see, there it is, Misty Moonlight. So it is still available. Now the reason I selected the Misty Moonlight is because I wanted the blue ink to be a little bit darker than the paper, because I wanted it to show up against the watercolor background. So I'm just going to make sure that my stamp is right side up. And because I haven't used this stamp before, I'm going to go ahead and do a little practice stamping. Oh, that looks really, really cute. So there it is. And I'm going to get that centered on there as best I can. There it is. I think you can see that. Now, it's not 100% clear image, because you have to remember that I'm using a very rough watercolor paper here. So it has a little bit of a tooth to it, but that's okay. It still looks gorgeous. And I'm going to go ahead, get this adhered to my tag. I will have a link, or actually I'm going to create a post that contains all of the materials that I'm using in this video. Well, maybe not every single one, but most of the paper crafting and stamping supplies will be listed. And you can find the link for that in the description or in a separate post on the Facebook page. So there we go. This is looking super cute. I'm going to give that a good burnish with my trusty bone folder. Okay, so there it is. Loving that. And I decided that I want to add a couple other things to the box itself. And so I found some DSP, Designer Series paper. All right, so this is double-sided decorative paper, and the name of this paper is Timeless Plaid. It's a 6 by, oops, sorry, I'm off camera. It's Timeless Plaid. It's a 6 by 6 Designer Series paper. You can see that I've been using quite a bit of it. I love it. I love it, and I love the colors in it. And I thought that that looked really nice with the colors that I used to paint the sides of the box. And I'm just checking here to make sure that you can see and hear me all right. So hold on just a second. Should have checked sooner, but everything looks okay, so that's good. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I have a piece of the cardstock, and if I could find my ruler, well, it measures 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. Here it is. Oops, wrong end. Okay, so 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. This is 3 by 3. And I'm just going to go ahead, put some glue around the edge, but not at the edge. Just an 1/8 of an inch or so away from the edge. And if I could pick that up, get that on there. Slide that into position. And once you're happy with the placement, go ahead and take your bone folder and burnish that down. And then this piece I'm going to glue on the inside of my lid. I love the idea of opening up a handmade box and finding surprises on the inside. So here we go. Now I just want to get that placed with an even border all around. Okay, that looks pretty good. And for the inside of the box, I like to use a clear block. And that way I can give that a good press. So there it is. Okay, now this piece is going to go on the bottom of the box. So I can take a look and see which side I like the best, and kind of like that side, so I'll use that for the front. I have some of this classic ribbon in basic beige, and I thought this looked very pretty with the painting. Okay, I thought that looked really nice with that. So I've cut out a length of ribbon, and I'm just going to find the center. I'm going to use my tear and tape. I'm just going to grab a little piece of that and stick that right in the center of the bottom of the box, like so. Again, burnish that down with my clear block, and then peel away the backing. Okay, and then find the center of my ribbon. And both sides are the same, so you don't have to worry about a right side and a wrong side. Again, give that a good press. All right, and then I'm going to take this piece and cover up the bottom of the ribbon, and this is going to serve a couple of different purposes. First of all, it's going to make sure that nobody loses that ribbon. It's going to give the box a little more support on the bottom and just make it feel that much sturdier. I love a nice sturdy box. It'll give a little extra weight to the bottom, make it feel more substantial. And it's just another element of design and surprise on the bottom of the box where somebody may not expect it. So let's give that a good burnish. Okay, so I think that's super cute. I can take my gift, slip that inside. I'm still debating on whether or not I'm going to add tissue paper. I have to see what colors I have in my stash. Here's my lid. Also, you know, it can be fun to put a little stamped surprise on the inside of the lid, but I think that I've got enough going on right now with this particular box. I'm going to go ahead and tie a simple bow. Can anybody ever tie a simple bow on a live video? I feel like I'm all thumbs when I try to do this. All right, that's not too bad. You know, years ago, that was terrible. Years ago, I worked for Tiffany and Company when I was a design apprentice in New York many years ago. And when people made purchases at Tiffany and Company, they would bring them to the wrapping department where people who worked there would make the most beautiful bows, and there was something called the Tiffany bow, and it was just perfect. And you would think that I learned how to do it while I was working there, but no, never occurred to me to learn how to tie a bow back in those days. But there it is. There's my little gift box with the tag, the opening tag. All right, I think it's adorable. I think she's going to love this. I sure hope she will. And I hope that I've inspired you to make a special little gift box, either for yourself or for somebody that you want to surprise. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you sign up for notes from Dandelion Cottage, because I'm going to be announcing some events coming up and some meetups. And what I mean by meetups, in case for those of you who don't know what a meetup is, in this particular case, it's going to be a meetup with women who love to car camp. And it's an enormous group. And there are chapters all across the country. And I'm outfitting my car to go car camping so I can take you on my journeys with my plein air painting and my watercolor sketchbook. And so I'm going to be visiting some of the neighboring states here in New England to get my feet wet, and I will be sharing that with you as I go. So if that's something that is interesting to you, please sign up for notes from Dandelion Cottage, because there's going to be a lot more information there, how you can find me, how you can join me, and just see pictures of me as I travel around this summer. Stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and I will see you next time.